Ever felt like being too nice is your curse? Like no matter how much you give, how much you care, you still end up alone, forgotten, discarded? They come to you when they're broken, lonely, or bored, but when it was time to love you back, they vanished like you never existed. Or maybe you were just trying to attract someone new. Maybe you weren't even asking for much, just hoping they'd see the real you, the one who's kind, caring, and ready to give their all. You thought being nice would be enough. You thought being genuine would set you apart. But instead, they walked right past you like you were invisible. But here's the real kicker. You let them. Oh, don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. You stayed when you should have walked away. You answered when you should have ignored them. Why? Because you told yourself, I'm just being nice. You think being available 24/7 makes you worthy of their love, their attention. But all it makes you is convenient. Before we rip open this harsh reality, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear might just sting, but it could also set you free. You were always there, weren't you? Answering texts the moment they came in, listening when they needed a shoulder to cry on, dropping everything just to be there for them, hoping that maybe, just maybe, they'd finally see your worth. You gave them attention, love, and care, while they gave you nothing but mixed signals, excuses, and silence. And when they ignored you, you stayed. When they left your messages on read, when they flaked on plans, when they treated you like a backup option, you still stayed. Oh, my friend, what you have done to yourself. You convinced yourself that being patient was the right thing to do, that maybe, if you loved them just a little harder, they'd finally notice you. But they didn't, did they? They used you as a comfort zone, someone they could run to when things went wrong, someone they knew would always be there. And you? You let them. And hey, don't act surprised now. You gave them the power to treat you like nothing. You excused their indifference. You defended their selfishness. You held on to false hope while they treated your heart like it was disposable. And for what? Just for the crumb of their attention? Just to make them think you are a nice person? And oh, because you thought being nice would make them fall for you. You thought being available, caring, and understanding would make them realize what they had. But all it did was make you easy to forget. And what is that you're saying? But I love them. Love? Is this what you call love? Being ignored, used, and disrespected while you keep giving them more? That's not love, my friend. That's desperation. You thought being nice would make them see your worth. You thought being available, caring, and supportive would make them realize what they were missing. But instead, they treated you like a personal puppet, pulling strings whenever it suited them. And you danced. Oh, how you danced. How can you do this to yourself? You ignored the signs. You accepted the crumbs they tossed your way. And worst of all, you believed that if you were just better, if you loved harder, cared deeper, and stayed longer, they'd finally choose you. But they didn't. And they won't. Let me hit you with the truth. People don't fall in love with kindness. They fall in love with respect, confidence, and mystery. They fall in love with people who value themselves. People who aren't begging to be chosen, but who choose themselves first. Every time you dropped everything for them, you taught them you didn't value your own time. Every time you forgave them for ignoring you, you taught them you'd accept the bare minimum. Every time you stayed hoping for love, you told them you were okay being their last option. And now you're surprised they rejected you? They didn't break you. You broke yourself. You shattered your self-worth every time you let them come and go as they pleased. every time you justified their bad behavior, every time you thought, maybe if I'm just a little nicer. Stop it. Stop being nice to them. Stop sacrificing your self-respect in the name of some fantasy love story that only exists in your head. They're not coming back to love you. They're not going to wake up one day and realize what they lost. They've already shown you exactly who they are. And are you going to tell me when you will believe them? You need to understand this. Kindness without boundaries isn't love. It's self-destruction. It's time to stop being available. Stop offering your heart on a silver platter to someone who doesn't even care if you exist. Stop waiting for them to see your worth and start seeing it yourself. And you know what? Society will tell you, walk away and they'll start seeing your worth. Let me laugh for a moment. They feed you lies. They tell you to walk away like it's some magic trick. Like the moment you leave, they'll come running back, begging for a second chance. Newsflash. They're not coming back. Not out of love. They might come back when they're lonely, when they're bored, when their new fling gets tired of them. Not because they miss you, but because they miss how you made them feel, special, adored, important. But that's not love. That's convenience. The world loves to sell you this fairy tale. If you stop being nice, they'll realize your value. No, they won't. Not the ones who used you. Not the ones who treated you like an option. They'll only miss what you did for them, not you. But you know who will come back? The one who truly loves you. The one who doesn't see you as just a comfort zone. The one who never thinks about using you or keeping you around, just in case. Someone who sees your worth without you having to prove it. But you'll never meet them until you stop being a doormat. Stop being the one they can count on when no one else is around. Stop being the emotional support system for someone who wouldn't even cross the street for you. Stop being nice to people who don't deserve it. So, are you ready? Are you ready to break free from the cycle of being used, ignored, and forgotten? Are you ready to stop being nice, to stop being available, to stop sacrificing yourself for people who only care when it's convenient for them? If you are, throw it out in the comments below. Just type, "I'm done being nice." Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're reclaiming your power. Because the second you stop being nice to the wrong people, the right ones will finally see you. Let them go and become someone they'll regret losing. Are you ready to uncover the 7 toxic habits you mistake for being nice? The very behaviors that poison your chances of being respected, valued, and truly loved. Number 1. Playing the always available puppet. Imagine being a 24/7 convenience store. Always open, always ready, no matter what time they decide to show up. They come in, take what they need, and leave, never caring how exhausted, drained, or broken you feel. You stay open, hoping that one day they'll appreciate how available you are. But they won't. Being always available is the fastest way to become invisible. They know you'll pick up the phone, answer that late-night text, or drop your plans just to see them. And every time you do, you teach them that your time, your energy, your entire being comes at no cost. Maybe if I'm always there, they'll see how much I care, you tell yourself. That showing up all the time will make you indispensable. That they'll realize no one else would be there for them like you. But it doesn't work that way. Instead of appreciating your availability, they expect it. You go from being a blessing to being background noise. They only call when they're bored. They only text when no one else is around. They only miss you when they need something. And when they're done, they vanish like you never existed until the next time they feel lonely. And suddenly, you're convenient again. You think being available keeps you closer to them, but it only pushes them further away. They have no reason to chase you when you're already waiting at the finish line. And oh, that fear. What if I'm not there when they call? What if they forget me? What if someone else takes my place? Let me hit you with reality. If someone's feelings for you depend on how accessible you are, they don't care about you. They care about the service you provide. You're not a person to them. You're a backup plan. But what if I lose them? You can't lose someone who was never yours in the first place. If being always available was the only thing holding them in your life, they were never really there. You weren't their choice. You were their convenience. And that's not love. That's emotional slavery. It's time to stop being the always available puppet. Stop being their emotional vending machine, dispensing love, attention, and care on demand while they give you nothing in return. Stop sacrificing yourself for someone who only notices you when it's convenient for them. Let me tell you what happens when you stop being available. The right ones will stay. They'll fight for your attention because they'll know your time is valuable. They'll see you as someone worth chasing, not someone waiting. So, ask yourself, when is enough enough? How long will you let them string you along, using your kindness as a crutch for their loneliness? How long will you let fear control you, making you believe that being available is the only way to be loved? It's time. Time to reclaim your worth. Time to stop being the one who's always there. Time to stop being the one they take for granted and start being the one they regret losing. So, affirm with me right now, I am done being available. And now, go and write it in the comments for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 2, the desperate people-pleaser parade. Imagine being a circus performer, constantly juggling, balancing, and bending over backward just to keep the crowd entertained. You exhaust yourself putting on a flawless show, hoping for applause, but all they do is watch, unimpressed, ready to move on the second you drop something. That's what being a people-pleaser feels like. You live to make them happy, to hear them say, "Thank you," or maybe, "I need you." You bend until you break, hoping they'll notice your sacrifices. But they don't. They're too busy enjoying the benefits of your endless efforts without ever appreciating the cost. Maybe if I do more, they'll finally care, you tell yourself. Oh, you've convinced yourself that the key to being loved is being perfect. If you're always helpful, always supportive, always agreeable, then maybe, just maybe, they'll see your worth. But they won't. You've become predictable. They know you'll say yes even when you're dying to say no. They know you'll fix their problems even when your world is falling apart. They know you'll always be there. And that's why they never choose you. But what if I don't help them? What if they leave? Let me hit you with the truth. People don't respect what they can control. Every time you put their needs above your own, every time you bend over backward to please them, you teach them that your happiness doesn't matter. They don't see your kindness as love. They see it as weakness. Oh, and you justify it, don't you? I'm just being nice. No, you're being used. You've built your entire identity around pleasing others, and now you're lost. You don't even know who you are without their approval. You've become their puppet, and they're pulling the strings. But if I stop, they'll leave. Here's a brutal truth. If someone only stays when you're giving, they were never really there. You were never their priority. You were their safety net, someone they could depend on without ever giving anything back. Love isn't earned through sacrifice. Love isn't about being the one who tries the hardest or gives the most. It's about mutual respect, mutual care, mutual effort. And if they can't give you that, they don't deserve you. Being a people pleaser won't make them love you. It'll only make them use you. The more you give, the more they'll take. until there's nothing left of you. So, ask yourself, when is enough enough? How many times will you overextend, hoping for scraps of attention? How long will you sacrifice your happiness to be their emotional ATM? How long will you let fear control you, making you believe that being useful is the only way to be loved? It's time to stop performing for people who don't care. Time to stop pleasing people who will never appreciate your worth. Time to stop giving yourself away and start choosing yourself. So, affirm with me right now, I am done being a people pleaser. And now, go and write it in the comments for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 3, the 2 predictable traps. Imagine watching the same movie over and over again. You know every line, every twist, every ending. There's no excitement, no mystery, just the same predictable story on repeat. After a while, you stop caring. That's what being too predictable feels like in relationships. You think being dependable and consistent will make them appreciate you. You always answer their texts, always say yes, always show up. You're always there thinking that if you're reliable, they'll see your worth. But they don't. Instead of valuing your presence, they expect it. They take your availability, your efforts, and your care for granted. You become predictable, and predictability kills excitement. Oh, and you tell yourself, but I'm just being nice. I'm just showing that I care. No, you're making yourself forgettable. When they know you'll always be the first to text, when they know you'll always say yes to last-minute plans, when they know you'll always be ready to fix their problems, where's the thrill in that? The human mind craves novelty. We're drawn to things that surprise us, challenge us, or keep us guessing. But when you become a sure thing, they stop seeing you as exciting and start seeing you as boring. But what if I stop being there for them, you wonder? What if they forget about me? Let me hit you with the truth. You can't be remembered if you were never missed. Every time you overextend yourself, showing up without them having to earn your attention, you teach them that your love is easy, that they don't need to fight for it, respect it, or even appreciate it, because it's always there. Oh, and when you finally try to pull back, that's when the panic sets in, right? You fear they'll move on, that they'll replace you with someone new, someone more exciting. Here's the brutal truth. If they only wanted you because you were predictable, they never really wanted you at all. The right person won't lose interest because you're not always there. They'll be grateful when you choose to spend your time with them because they'll know your presence is valuable. So stop being their safety net. Stop being predictable. Stop being the one they can always count on while they give you nothing in return. Be someone worth chasing. Be someone they can't predict. Be someone they're afraid to lose, because you're not just there. So affirm with me right now, I am done being predictable. And now, go and write it in the comments, for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 4, sacrificing yourself on the selfless altar. Imagine being a candle burning in the dark, giving light, warmth, and comfort while slowly melting into nothing. You shine for others, but who's there when you're nothing but wax and ashes? That's what sacrificing yourself feels like. You give, and give until there's nothing left of you. You tell yourself, if I keep putting them first, they'll see how much I care. Maybe they'll love me back. But they don't. They take, they expect, they demand. And you keep giving. You've convinced yourself that being selfless is what makes you worthy of love. That if you sacrifice enough, your time, your energy, your happiness, they'll finally see your worth. But they won't. They'll only see someone who's easy to take from, someone who doesn't even respect their own boundaries. But isn't love about sacrifice, you ask yourself? No. Love is about mutual respect, mutual effort, mutual giving. But when you're the only one sacrificing, that's not love. That's emotional slavery. And here's where it gets darker. You've started romanticizing your pain. You tell yourself, I'm strong because I can handle this. You wear your suffering like a badge of honor, as if breaking yourself makes you more lovable. Oh, how they've tricked you. You've become addicted to sacrificing yourself. You've mistaken being a martyr for being a lover. And now, you don't even know who you are without the pain. You've made your suffering your identity. But if I stop sacrificing, they'll leave, you wonder. Let me hit you with the brutal truth. If someone only stays when you're sacrificing yourself, they were never really there. They didn't love you. They loved what you could do for them. Every time you put their happiness above your own, every time you stayed silent to keep the peace, every time you said, I'm fine, when you were dying inside, you taught them that your needs don't matter. They didn't take advantage of you by accident. You showed them how. But isn't putting others first what good people do? No, good people don't destroy themselves for others. Being kind doesn't mean being a sacrifice. Being caring doesn't mean being a doormat. There's nothing noble about giving up your happiness just to keep someone else around. That's not love. That's self-betrayal. So ask yourself, when is enough enough? How long will you keep losing yourself just to hold on to someone who doesn't care if you're falling apart? How long will you let fear convince you that being selfless is the only way to be loved? It's time. Time to stop being the sacrificial lamb. Time to stop making excuses for people who take without giving. Time to stop breaking yourself and start choosing yourself. So affirm with me right now, I am done sacrificing myself. And now, go and write it in the comments, for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 5. The love me through giving game. Imagine planting flowers in a desert, watering them with your love, your patience, your everything, hoping they'll bloom. But no matter how much you give, the ground stays dry, lifeless, unresponsive. You're exhausted, yet you keep pouring, believing that if you just give a little more, maybe, just maybe, something will finally grow. That's the cruel reality of playing the love me through giving game. You think if you give enough, they'll finally see your worth. You buy them gifts, offer favors, drop everything at a moment's notice, hoping that your generosity will make them fall in love. But they don't. They take what you offer and keep moving forward as if you don't exist. Oh, you've convinced yourself that love is something you can earn, like it's a prize waiting for you at the end of some emotional marathon. So you keep running, keep sacrificing, keep giving, until there's nothing left of you. Maybe if I do more, maybe if I care harder, maybe if I give everything, they'll finally choose me. But they won't. Here's the harsh truth. Love isn't a transaction. You can't buy someone's heart with your time, your money, or your effort. You could be the most generous, thoughtful, selfless person on the planet and still not be enough for someone who's incapable of loving you back. But I just want to show them how much I care, you say. No. What you're really doing is begging. Every time you give without receiving, every time you offer everything while they offer nothing, every time you overextend yourself hoping they'll notice, you're begging for scraps. And they know it. They know you'll be there. They know you'll give. They know you'll stay, no matter how little they offer in return, because you've made it easy. They don't need to love you. They just need to take. And oh, the excuses you make for them. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe they'll change. Stop it. They're not too busy. They're just not interested. They're not going through something. They're just using you. They're not going to change. They never will, because they've already learned you'll keep giving, even when they give nothing back. Love isn't something you win. It's not something you chase, bargain for, or earn through acts of service. Real love is mutual. It's about someone seeing your worth without you having to prove it. But if I stop giving, they'll forget me, you wonder. Let me hit you with the truth. If they only remember you because of what you give, they never cared about you in the first place. You weren't their lover. You were their provider. Stop playing the game. Stop overgiving to people who can't even give you the bare minimum. Stop offering your heart like it's for sale. Stop waiting for someone who's only interested in what they can get from you, and start demanding the love you truly deserve. So affirm with me right now, I am done giving to be loved. And now, go and write it in the comments, for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 6. Avoiding conflict like a peacekeeper. Porn. Imagine being a fragile bridge stretched AC across a raging river. You hold steady while the storm thrashes below, but every step they take weakens you, cracks you, until one day you snap. You tried to keep the peace and lost yourself in the process. That's what avoiding conflict feels like. You hold everything inside, pretending things are fine, smiling through clenched teeth, all in the name of keeping the peace. You bite your tongue, swallow your pain, and tell yourself it's not worth the fight. But oh, it is, because every time you stay silent, you disappear. You erase yourself to make them comfortable. You think being agreeable will keep the relationship intact, but it only teaches them that your feelings don't matter. They get used to winning every argument because you never speak up. I don't want to cause drama, you say. Let me hit you with the truth. Staying silent doesn't prevent drama. It invites disrespect. When you avoid conflict, you're not keeping the peace, you're keeping the pain. You bury your feelings hoping they'll magically change, but they won't. Why would they? You've taught them that your boundaries are optional. They break promises, you stay silent. They disrespect you, you stay silent. They hurt you, you stay silent. And now you're shocked that they don't take you seriously. Oh, but you tell yourself, if I speak up, they might leave. Here's the brutal truth. If standing up for yourself makes someone leave, they were never going to stay. They were only there as long as you made life easy for them. Conflict isn't what breaks relationships. Disrespect does. And avoiding conflict doesn't make you noble. It makes you a pawn. It makes you someone they can control without ever having to face consequences. But I hate confrontation. Confrontation isn't about fighting. It's about self-respect. Speaking up doesn't make you aggressive. It makes you real. And if someone can't handle your truth, they can't handle you. Real love can survive conflict. It can handle difficult conversations, misunderstandings, and even mistakes. But fake love, it shatters the moment you ask for more. But what if they get mad? Let me be blunt. Their anger isn't your responsibility. Their reaction to your boundaries doesn't define your worth. If they can't handle being called out, that's their problem, not yours. So stop fearing conflict. Stop walking on eggshells. Stop sacrificing your voice just to avoid making waves. Stop staying silent while you drown in unspoken pain. You're not here to be a peacekeeper. You're here to be respected. So affirm with me right now, I am done avoiding conflict. And now, go and write it in the comments for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 7. Explaining your worth like a salesperson. Imagine standing in front of someone with your heart in your hands, explaining, justifying, and begging them to see your worth. You list your qualities like a desperate salesperson pitching a product no one asked for, hoping they'll finally say you're enough. But they never do. That's what explaining your worth feels like. You twist yourself into emotional knots, laying out everything you bring to the table. Your love, loyalty, sacrifices, hoping they'll finally recognize your value. But they don't. Oh, they just sit there, unmoved, while you sell yourself like a product on clearance, discounted and desperate. I did this for you. I've always been there. I've given you everything. Why can't you just love me? And here's the brutal truth. Love doesn't come through explanations. You can't argue your way into someone's heart. You can't convince someone to see your worth when they've already decided that you don't matter. Every time you try to explain why you're worthy, you lose. You lose respect. You lose dignity. You lose yourself. Because the right person won't need convincing. They'll see your worth without you having to hold a PowerPoint presentation on why they should care. They'll love you for who you are, not for what you offer or how well you can justify yourself. But what if they don't understand what I've done for them? Let me hit you with the truth. If they didn't notice your worth when you were giving your best, they never will. They saw it. They just didn't care enough to value it because they don't respect what's freely explained. They take your sacrifices and shrug. They hear your emotional pleas and yawn. They see your vulnerability and feel nothing. Not because you're not worthy, but because they've already checked out. You think explaining will change their mind? It won't. In fact, the more you explain, the less they respect you. They see someone desperate for approval, someone who's still trying to earn what should have been freely given in the first place. Love. But if I don't explain, they'll never know how much I care. Stop right there. They know how much you care. They've always known. They've just never cared back. They heard you when you cried. They saw your efforts when you tried. They felt your love when you gave everything, but they still chose to ignore it. And now you're standing there begging for what should be yours without asking. You're playing the pick-me game, hoping that if you explain just one more time, they'll finally see your value. But they won't, because you've already taught them that your worth is negotiable. The moment you explain yourself, you lower yourself. You tell them, I'm not sure of my own value, so let me convince you. Oh, stop begging for love. Love isn't a business deal. You're not for sale. You're not some option on a shelf that they can choose if you market yourself well enough. You are enough without explanations. The right person won't need a sales pitch. They won't need you to list your qualities, efforts, or sacrifices. They'll just know. And if they don't see your worth, walk away. Because someone who truly loves you won't make you feel like you have to earn their affection. They'll give it freely, fully, and without question. So stop explaining. Stop convincing. Stop justifying. You are not a product. You are not something they can take or leave depending on how well you sell yourself. You are someone worthy of love even when you're silent. Let them go. If they couldn't see your value when you were giving them everything, they'll never see it. And that's not your fault. It's their loss. So affirm with me right now. I am done explaining my worth. And now, go and write it in the comments for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 8. Settling for almost love. Imagine standing outside a locked door, hoping that if you knock long enough, someone on the other side will finally open it. You wait day after day, year after year, hoping they'll change, hoping they'll choose you, hoping that almost will somehow become forever. But the door never opens because it was never meant to. That's what settling for almost love feels like. All almost, committed, almost caring, almost there, but never fully yours. They give you just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to make you feel secure. They say things like, "I'm not ready for anything serious, but I still care about you. Let's see where this goes. I'm just figuring things out right now." And, oh, you believe them. You tell yourself, maybe if I'm patient, they'll finally be ready. Maybe they'll choose me. Maybe they'll change. But they won't. Almost love is still a no. They give you breadcrumbs, just enough attention to keep you invested, but never enough to satisfy the hunger in your heart. They come close, but never stay. They say all the right things, but never follow through. And you wait. You wait, thinking that someday they'll realize what they have in you. You tell yourself it's delayed, that maybe, just maybe, if you wait long enough, it'll finally arrive. But deep down, you know it never will. That's what waiting for closure feels like. You're stuck, frozen in time, replaying every memory, every word, every fight, searching for answers that may never exist. You tell yourself, "I just need closure, then I'll move on." But closure isn't something they can give you. You want them to explain, to apologize, to admit they were wrong, to feel what you felt. You want them to sit across from you, look you in the eye, and finally tell the truth, that you mattered, that it wasn't all in your head, that it wasn't your fault. But they won't, because they've already moved on. They're out there living their life while you're stuck rewriting the past. They've left you behind without a second thought, and here you are, still waiting for an ending that will never come. But if they just explained why they left, I could finally let go. Stop lying to yourself. Their explanation won't heal you. Their apology won't erase the pain. Even if they came back right now and told you everything you wanted to hear, it wouldn't change what happened. Because closure isn't something they can give you. Closure is what you give yourself. You don't need their permission to move on. You don't need their apology to find peace. You don't need their explanation to let go. You don't need them at all. But why did they hurt me, you wonder? Because they could. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't because you weren't good enough, pretty enough, or smart enough. They hurt you because that's who they are, not because of who you are. Their lack of love isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their emptiness. You were whole before them. You'll be whole after them. So stop waiting. Stop waiting for an apology. Stop waiting for answers. Stop waiting for someone who let you go to come back and fix what they broke. They can't fix it, but you can. That if you're just patient enough, loving enough, understanding enough, they'll change their mind. But here's the truth. They already know your worth. They're just not willing to give you what you deserve because they don't want to. They keep you around as a backup, a convenience, a temporary fix for their loneliness. But what if they change? Stop hoping for potential. If they wanted to be with you, they would have already chosen you. Love doesn't need figuring out. Someone who truly loves you won't leave you in limbo, waiting, wondering, questioning where you stand. But maybe I'm asking for too much? No. You're asking for basic respect. You're asking for real commitment. You're asking for love that stays. Almost love isn't love. It's a placeholder, a distraction, an emotional trap that keeps you chained to someone who isn't willing to give you their whole heart. Stop settling. Stop accepting half efforts, half promises, and half-hearted love. Stop waiting for someone who isn't waiting for you. Stop believing that almost will ever become forever, because you deserve more. You deserve someone who chooses you fully, who loves you completely, who shows up consistently. So ask yourself, when is enough enough? How long will you hold on to someone who can't even hold on to you? How long will you let fear convince you that almost is better than nothing? It's time to let go of the one who's almost there but never really yours. Time to stop hoping for a future that will never come. Time to walk away from someone who only knows how to half love you. So affirm with me right now, I am done settling for almost love. And now, go and write it in the comments for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. Number 9. Waiting for closure that will never come. Imagine standing at a deserted train station, staring down an empty track, waiting for a train that's never coming. You can heal. You can rebuild. You can rise without them. The only closure you need is knowing that you deserve better. It's time to let go. Not because they apologized, not because they explained, but because you choose to move forward. So affirm with me right now, I am done waiting for closure. And now go and write it in the comments for once and all. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're finally free. And now, listen. You've been through enough, haven't you? Giving, hoping, waiting, only to be left shattered, forgotten, and used. But today is where it ends. You're not here to be someone's backup plan, emotional crutch, or temporary fix. You're here to be loved fully, deeply, and without conditions. But that love won't come until you stop being the person who's always available, always giving, always explaining, always settling. It's time to rise, time to break free, time to stop chasing and start choosing yourself. They may not see your worth, but you will. And when you do, everything will change. If this hit home, don't leave quietly. Drop a comment below with the phrase, I choose myself. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you're done settling for less. Subscribe if you're ready for more hard truths that will set you free. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because it's time to reclaim your power. You've been strong for everyone else. Now it's time to be strong for yourself.